Wow, it worked. And it's a small miracle for me because anything technical, frankly, is quite challenging. But doing this new YouTube channel that is titled More to Come is really me practicing one of the things that makes this stage of life so much richer, and that's learning new things. And I've been on a big learning curve, learning new things about how to do a YouTube channel and how to really connect all the pieces and parts that go into just sitting in front of a camera and talking to you. But I'm so glad to talk to you because there are a lot of us over 60, and now I'm 70. If you read the description, you know that that birthday rolled around and shocked me because suddenly 70 sounded so old. And it is. It's getting up there, right? But we're a little shocked by that, I think, always, that we're finally here. We're finally in this stage of life where we're kind of an older adult, supposed to be wiser, right? So that's the journey I was trying to discover how I can really embrace this season and make it the most that it can be. So I'm excited that you're joining, and hopefully we'll have a long future ahead of us because there's so much to learn. We have so many exciting things happening in the world of aging science, in the world of really understanding our bodies and how we can do the best possible things to make sure that we stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So I'm going to be doing a lot of that here. I have so much that I'm curious about, and I've been on this journey. If you look at all these books behind me, there are a lot of books back there about aging. There are a lot of books about aging well, aging gracefully, the best things you can do to have a successful life as a senior, not a senior in high school, right? A senior in the senior citizen aspect. So, anyway, I've been doing all this research and looking at all these things, talking to a lot of people, and I thought, why keep it to myself? Now, that's not just because I'm so altruistic. I know that by learning that and sharing it with you, it'll stick in this old brain even better. And I know that I'll be held accountable to a certain degree, that if I'm telling you about things like eating more apples or, getting out for walks, taking time to really appreciate the world around me, spending more time looking into my faith and what that means as I live out this chapter of life. If I'm talking about those things to you, interviewing people about those things, and really kind of trying to encourage all of us to age better, then I better be doing it myself. So there's a certain amount of accountability there that comes with doing a YouTube channel like this. But I titled it Still to Come, or excuse me, More to Come. I actually kind of went back and forth on that. Still to come, more to come. And I'll tell you why. 40 years in broadcasting, and I probably said more to come or still to come 1,000 times 10,000. Because in the news business, you're always teasing ahead. You're always teasing people, hoping that they'll stick around for the next segment, the next story that you have for them. And so you'll end one segment saying, more to come, and then a little blurb about whatever that's going to be. And so I thought that would maybe be perfect for this YouTube channel because there is more to come and we need to anticipate it. And we probably need to tease it a little bit so that we live with purpose, we live with intention, we live with an excitement about what's more to come. Because frankly, there's a lot to worry about. I know turning 70 seemed like it turned on the spigot for having some health issues. I did have cataract surgery. That was like a miracle. Thank you, Lord. I can see so much better now. I still have these are progressive readers. Now, they aren't very cute, but they do the job. And what I love about them is that I don't need them for distance vision anymore. I just need them for reading things up close. And so I just use them for that. But cataract surgery was like a miracle for me. But it sort of came on me suddenly. I just felt like I was going blind. And what's the deal? And I didn't want to drive at night, especially. I didn't want to even drive during the daytime because I couldn't read the signs down the road. But through the miracle of science, through the miracle of cataract surgery, I have great vision. But then there were other things that came along after my little calendar turned over to 70. And those have been a little concerning. But you know what? You dig in, you get information, you start doing a few things better, not doing some things that you've been doing, and reminding yourself that I want to stay strong and healthy. I really want to be a contributor as long as I live. And so that means that that fear we all have, and I've talked to a lot of you, I know those of us in this age group, we're worried about our brains. We're worried about dementia. And so I want to discover everything I can and learn about what to do to prevent that if possible. And they're saying that there are things we can do. Now, some of you watching this are younger than I am. You're probably in your 60s. And that's a great time to get a really good handle on this. I started doing some things in my 60s, but I've got to be honest, I didn't really get serious about it until just the last few months. And I think that's because as we get older, we become more aware of the reality that, yep, things are changing. And if we're going to have a healthy life, like in the blue zones, have you heard about that? Folks that live in these blue zones around the world where they live not just to 100, but they live vitally to 100. They live with vigor to 100. And so as I started looking at that, and I thought, boy, you know what? I've neglected my body in so many ways for a long time, catching up with me a bit. I have a little making up to, well, I have a lot of making up to do, honestly. But because of that, if I have a tribe, if I have some friends, if I have some of you along on that journey with me, encouraging each other, I think is always a good strategy. Then I think we'll be more successful. And I think we can combat the fear we have of the things that aging can bring, like dementia, like not being able to be as physically vibrant as we remember being, but yet still wanting to be able to get out and do things. I think that that's going to happen better if we're in this together. And so here's what I'm going to try to hit. I'm going to try to hit on a lot of things here on this YouTube channel. More to come. Here's what it means for me. More to come in the area of health. I just mentioned that. There's more to come, maybe more challenges, but there's a lot of exciting things happening in the scientific world, in the medical world that can help us age better. But it's confusing, isn't it? I mean, who do you believe? What's out there? I mean, you get bombarded by the time you roll around to our age, you get bombarded with ads about all these different things. And so I'm going to try to use my reporting skills to interview people, to find out information, to really tackle some of those things that are really on all of our minds and get to the root of the truth. And that's not easy. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. I'm not an expert, but I'm curious and I want to know for myself and I want to know for you. So whatever I can find out, whatever we can learn together, let's share it. That would be good. So that's one area, health. Another area that I really want to focus on is those strategies that we can use to stay in the game, to still be engaged. Learning new things. I mentioned that at the top of this YouTube broadcast. Is that what I live shot? Whatever. I'm learning new things by doing this, and I know that's good for me. Not comfortable. Oh my goodness. I spent all day just trying to fill out the form to get on and do this live. And I'm sure I've made some mistakes, and I'm sure I'll look back on this and say, oh, Dee, you have a lot to learn. And it's going to be true no matter what. But learning new things is so vital to us staying in the game. And so I'm going to learn more about that. And I want to hear what you're doing. What hobbies have you taken up? What dreams have you still decided I'm going to live that out because that's something I've always wanted to do. And yeah, I've got to learn some new things to do it, but I'm going to give it a go. I'd love to hear your stories along those lines. So learning new things, all those mental things that we need to do, changing our attitude, life skills, practical life skills that can make it better for us to actually live in this portion of our life to the fullest. So that's part of it. Also, you know what? I want to tell you, I am a woman of faith. I love Jesus. I read my Bible daily. I study my Bible is probably even more important. And I try to apply it to every circumstance in my life. So definitely trying to apply it to this circumstance, this stage of life. And so I want to share those things with you too, because as we grow in faith, we grow in hope and purpose. And I think that's so key to healthy, wonderful aging, is that we realize we have a purpose to the very last day. I'm jiggling my camera because I'm pounding on my desk, to the very last day. But we also have a hope that this isn't the end, that there's more to come. And that more to come gives us such joy, even in the difficult moments. I've had them. I know you've had them. Some of you've had them to the depths. But when you come to realize how much you are loved by the God who created you and how much more he has for you at every stage of life, then things really start to change. So I'm going to be sharing about that too. So let's see. I talked about health. I talked about, those mental things that we do. I talked about faith. One of the things that I'm excited about is learning how our relationships change. And I'm a grandma. I love being a grandma. As a matter of fact, you might hear a kiddo pop in once in a while if they don't pay attention to the little note I have on my door. Um, I love this stage of life and the relationships that it brings, but it also brings challenges. And I think those challenges sometimes can be met by us remembering some of the life skills that maybe we were taught when we were younger. So here's an example. I always say I graduated from broadcasting into teaching high school students. And what a wonderful change that was. So as I ended one career, I started another career that I've been doing for the last 5 years. I retired last June, so I've been retired from that almost a year. But you know what? Teaching life skills to high school kids was the greatest thing ever. First of all, because I love high school students. They're really wonderful people, and they're trying and they're learning and they're striving, and they're reminding me a lot of how hard that season of life can be too. But they're also, in being in a room with them, reminding me that these life skills are just as important now as they were back then. A couple of examples: getting out of your comfort zone. And boy, have we created comfort zones by the time we've lived all these decades. I know I have, and I think if you're honest, you probably have too. But getting out of our comfort zone is such a good thing, and it expands our world. Our world, we don't want it to shrink at this stage. We want it to expand. And so getting out of your comfort zones was one of the favorite topics I taught to the high school students. And I challenged them in some fun, creative ways that I'm going to challenge you too, and me too. Listen, we're in this together. I'm not the expert, remember. I'm a sojourner along with you. And so that was one area that was good. Another life skill that I talked about with the high school students a lot about was smiling. Smiling is a life skill. I can't tell you how sad it makes me to walk in the grocery store, to catch my eye to somebody else's, offer them a smile, and they don't smile back. Now, I know that sometimes people don't have a smile, and that grieves me. And a lot of times I'll walk away and pray for that person because they don't have a smile. And I understand that can definitely be the case. I'm not trying to judge people that don't smile, but I do want to say that if you smile at people, if you make the effort to give them that gift of a smile, you'd be amazed at what comes back. And I'm sure a lot of you know that, but we have to remind ourselves, and I do. When I have to really remind myself is when I'm driving. I remember when I was doing the news back in the day, I made myself smile while I was driving because I didn't want people to see me and recognize me and think I was an old grouch or even a young grouch. I didn't want that. And I tend to be kind of grouchy in the car. I have a little tiny bit, or maybe some days a lot, of road rage. But I have noticed that as I've gone back to that, now that I'm not on, the news every night, but I've gone back to that, getting in my car and saying, okay, Dee, smile, darn ya, smile. I even wrote a little song about that I might share with you someday. Smile, darn ya, smile. And I do that and I feel better. I'm not as aggravated at the drivers that I think should really get off the road. I just have a better attitude. So smiling is a life skill. Now, those are a couple of simple sounding things, but they can have a profound impact. So I'm also going to want to talk about things like that. So let's see. Let me look at my notes here because I wrote all of this out. I want us to be filled with deeper faith, renewed purpose. Finding our purpose at this stage, in this age, can sometimes be really difficult. So how can we do that? And how can we really discover a purpose that we can, first of all, succeed in because we have, the ability, and our abilities might have changed since we were younger. How can we also find a purpose that really means something deep in our hearts so that we'll stick with it and so that we'll really be carrying it out? Greater wisdom. Wisdom to me is a gift from God. He says if we'll ask him for wisdom, he loves to give it. He wants to give it. And we need wisdom in this season, we need a lot of wisdom, but we can also share our wisdom because we made a lot of mistakes and we can maybe prevent other people from making some of those mistakes. So wisdom. So through biblical insight, modern science, which fascinates me, those practical life skills, and here's one more, the beauty of creation. Now, if you followed me at all, I have alpacas and I love them. I enjoy them. We also have horses and cows. We have, we have chickens, we have goats. We kind of have the whole menagerie. But we also live in a beautiful part of the world, and I hope you do too. But just about anywhere you live, you can find beauty. And in that beauty, you can find God because He created it all. And that wonder that we can have at the creation around us can really fill us up and can really make a difference in your day. So I'm going to be sharing a lot about those kinds of things too, and asking you to share with me what kinds of things fill you with wonder so that maybe I can discover something new that I haven't discovered before. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be covering on this YouTube channel, and I hope that you will share this. I hope you'll be sure to join me as I continue on this journey. I'll be trying to be very consistent because that's important, but that is a challenge for me. I have a busy life just like you. And so I'm going to very much appreciate your prayers that I can be consistent. And then the other thing is, I'm going to make every effort, and it's a challenge, but I'm going to make every effort to bring people on this channel that can share with us really practical ideas, inspiring ideas, things that we can just sink our teeth into. So I hope you'll be looking forward to that. Now, in my next couple of videos, I'm going to be telling you about the true inspiration behind this YouTube channel. And I think it might surprise you a little bit. It surprised me. It was one of those things that happened. I watched it unfold. I was absolutely astounded by it. And it made me want to do this, even though I had to go through a big learning curve to get started. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be sharing with you some of the just really practical things that I have found in the last few months since I've had a few medical challenges that I think are helping me with some of those key areas of health. What else? I'm trying to remember. I had my list here, but you know what? That's what happens when you get older, right? You need your list so you can remember all the things you said you were going to talk about and do. Just trust me, right? Trust me. I have a lot of good things on a list somewhere that are going to be fun to share with you. So stick around, join me here on More to Come. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you better as you interact with me in the chat and as we have opportunities to share together. Now I'm going to try to figure out how to turn this off. I'm not really sure. Let's give it a go. Oh, there's a button for that. See you later.